So I just got a question last night on one of my other videos in regards to slotted collars. So I just thought that I might make a quick video, show you some of the different ones and sort of explain a little bit about slotted collars and that sort of thing. So yeah, so I just thought I'd do that. I'll start off with a disclaimer. Now, in some countries slotted collars are illegal, so I don't know whether where you're living that's the case, but just be aware of that. And I'm not promoting them to any particular person. I use them, but that's my choice. I've been using them for many years and I have no issues with them, and I find them very versatile and very handy. But just be aware that they are illegal in some countries. Some people are absolutely terrified of them, but as I said in a response to the person who asked me, if they're used correctly, they're perfectly fine. Anyhow, so I'll just give you a bit of a look at the different types that I have here. So my standard ones that I use pretty much all the time are just, try and get them paired up for you, just like that. There's just simple slots. That one, if you can see the pinholes, that has had pins in it at some point, but they've been removed. I didn't remove them. I don't know who removed them, but in any case, they've been removed. I use them all the time, basically because of the size of them. So if you can see the difference, I don't know if you can see that. So they're quite a bit smaller. Like that's significantly larger. That one. Then you've got your next lot, which, if you can see in there, that has the pins in it. So what we do with that, I'll just pause the video and I'll grab some cutters and I'll show you what you do there. So what normally happens, these have had a V ground out of them, but normally it's just a slot that's ground into the cutter. And the cutter actually sits, you can get it in. These haven't been used, so they're a bit tight. But in any case, the cutter goes in and it sits over the top of the pin, and there's no way that that can actually come out because it's locked in place. So they're as safe as anything that you can use. The next set, I don't even know where I got these, but somebody's made these up themselves, and they've actually drilled and tapped through the cutters, through the collars, and they're locking them down with these. As I said, I've never used them. I don't even know where I got them from. They probably came with some tooling that I bought, but that's somebody's concept of a person who's terrified of losing the cutters in them. So they've come up with a concept to tighten them down. Not necessary if you do the right thing with them, but it's not a bad idea for for a bit of peace of mind. Now, I was also saying that in 30 years of using these, I've only ever lost one set of cutters, and that was on this particular machine. It was short. It was probably I was in a factory next door here, and when I moved into here, unbeknownst to me, somebody accidentally mixed up a pair. They were the identical mould, so it was almost impossible to tell, but because I had so many of these and I had numerous different ones that were the same, what we used to do was sit them on the table and pair them up so that they were the same height. Somebody must have forgot to do that, and one cutter was ever so slightly narrower in its height than the other cutter, and I didn't know because they were repair as far as I was concerned. So I set them in the machine. Luckily for me, I set my feed unit, started the machine up, and the cutter come flying out, but it just smacked straight into the front of the feed unit, Scared the hell out of us because it made a big noise and it was something I wasn't expecting. But apart from that, no harm done, didn't damage anything, didn't even damage the cutters. So that was a valuable lesson learnt into making sure that your cutters are paired properly. And never ever set cutters up that aren't identical in their size, because you will lose one. The other thing you want to make sure when you're setting these cutters up, never ever set your cutter so that it's past halfway. Always try and stay back as far as you can. So in other words, never set your cutter out to the point, like trying to set it out far enough to get a good cut, but you've gone past halfway through the shaft. Always stick back as far as you possibly can so that you've got as much meat of the other collar biting on top of that cutter. The other thing that we always do here is slotted collars only really get run in this particular machine, and my older Wadkins, the only things that the slotted collars get run in, because we've got them set up at a slower speed. They're only running at 4,500 revs. My newer machines that I've got set up, I've got them running at 6,000, so I don't run the slotted collars in them. Not because there's any particular problem, but just because I don't want that extra speed creating any issues that could come about that isn't there with the slower speeds. Probably would never happen, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. The other thing that you want to do when you're setting your cutters up, if you're using slotted collars, make sure that you use your rule to set each cutter to the exact same depth. You don't want them unbalanced. I've seen people running these things with a cutter like this in here and then one set back like that. How can you see this? So like that. So they're using this cutter and they've just put this cutter in here to make up the height difference, but it's so unbalanced. If you do something like that, you're gonna end up throwing a cutter because you've got it set up unbalanced. They need to be set up so that you've got both cutters set to the exact same depth off the shaft or off the block, whichever, off the collar, whichever way you want to set it, but they need to be exactly the same position. And no doubt I'm going to get comments saying that, oh, you know, dangerous bloody things, I've used them, I've lost them, I've seen this person, you know, all that sort of stuff. Look, being in the trade for as long as I have, having my father who was a joiner also, I've heard all that and, you know, all of those sort of things. And 90%, 95, 98% of the time, it's been user error. The user has done something wrong in order to cause the cutter to throw. Whether it be they didn't tighten it up tight enough, like one of our old friends had a habit of just barely pinching them, and so he would occasionally lose cutters just simply because they weren't done up tight enough. So, as I said before, if you take the appropriate precautions and you use the things correctly, you set them up correctly, there is no reason why they're not as safe as anything else. One question that was asked that was in that same question was to do with the limiting heads. Do I use slotted collars or do I just use limiting heads? These things, the limiting heads, these ones are an aluminium block. Now, as I mentioned to him, I have to check these bolts here every single time I use them because they actually work loose. Now, if you weren't aware of that and you kept using them, you would lose a cutter out of these things because they work loose. I don't know if it happens on the steel-bodied heads, but it definitely happens on these. I've got 4 of these and it happens on every one of them. So bear that in mind too. Check those. Make sure they're tight. Anyhow, just a quick video there. I just wanted to go through the slotted collar stuff. I thought it might have been a bit easier just to show and give a quick rundown than it was to type it out. Yeah, just be very careful with them if you're using them, and follow everything that I've said here. Like, you know, if you've got collars that's got the pins in them, use them. They're as safe as you can, as safe as anything else you're going to be operating because they can't come out. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.